After a wild search for the next Falcons head coach that kind of put, as you put it, a cloud over flowery branch, it feels like that's been lifted, and at least for now, there is some excitement because of just the glowing smile that is Raheem Morris and all the positive energy he brings and how excited he is to quote unquote return home. But that can leave quickly, right? Like, this is a results-oriented business, and the Falcons haven't been to the playoffs in 6 years. They have a good roster, not a fantastic roster. They have a lot of moves that they could make. Obviously, they got to fix the quarterback position. But as we've said, if they do not get the quarterback situation right, it's almost going to be impossible, even in a bad division, to win the division and finally get back to the playoffs, which is all Falcons fans really care about. This drama, it's been fun to cover for you and me. But Falcons fans don't care about that. We're ready to win football games. We're ready to get back to the postseason and compete again. Which brings me to the question, what kind of leash are you expecting for Raheem Morris to have in this situation? Because I know a lot of people love him, but when you talk about a 7-year postseason drought, and if that continues, all the patience is going to wear thin among this fan base, and maybe even Arthur Blank, even if he loves him.
Yeah, I mean, you saw exactly how that can go from, a beloved head coach and Dan Quinn, Super Bowl, brought us back to the playoffs this next year, and he grew out of favor immediately in 2018, immediately pretty much. So I think that, it is wins and losses, and we can all rejoice in the hire right now, but I think Raheem Morris gets it. He's been around this game long enough to know that, you're only as great as what you've done for me recently, and I think that he understands that because he said, we have to win this division. That's the first task. Win the division, get into the playoffs. Once you're in the playoffs, anything can happen. That's what he said. I do think that there is a longer leash than maybe some people might think. Like if we don't make the playoffs this upcoming year, he's not going to get fired because I don't think Arthur Blank wants to. Arthur Blank, as owner, for all his faults, I do think that he gives head coaches enough time to kind of, get their feet into the thick of things in terms of the foundation and build up. Because a lot of teams, like the Raiders, Mark Davis, Al Davis, a lot of other owners are knee-jerky. David Tepper of the Carolina Panthers fired like 4 coaches in as many years. So I do think for all his faults, Arthur Blank will give Raheem Morris time. But then again, like you said, it doesn't matter if it was Bill Belichick, Jesus Christ himself, or Raheem Morris. If they don't figure out this quarterback position, there's going to be no NFC South champion coming to Atlanta. Like, that's just a fact.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any situation where it's like a one-off deal where he gets fired. No. I think they've got to figure out the quarterback position. And I don't even know if that's as much, I think Arthur Smith had a big say in the quarterback position. I don't know how much Raheem Morris is going to have a huge say. What do you think about that?
I do think he's going to have a say. I think it's like you said, it's going to be a collaboration. It's going to be Zach Robinson, Raheem Morris, and Terry Fontenot. And I'm blanking on the assistant GM's name, and Ryan Poles in a room gathering all their information. Kyle Smith, yes. Kyle Smith, the assistant GM. They're going to be in a room gathering information from their subordinates, the front office, their scouts on the ground, quarterbacks coach, and other assistants in the building, and they're going to take it, and then they're just going to kind of discuss an overarching theme. I did want to say one thing, though. It's not going to be all, happy-go-lucky. Arthur Blank wanted to hire Bill Belichick, the head coach, for a reason. He wanted to win. He's 82 years old. He wanted to win in 2024. He wanted to win right now. So I do think that Raheem Morris is going to have a little bit of a grace period, but it's not going to be, happy-go-lucky, we'll get him next year. Arthur Blank expects to win right now. I think Raheem Morris expects to win right now. The fact is I don't know how realistic that is until I see what they do at the quarterback position.
Yeah, I mean, he was asked that. I think it might even have been Mark Zeno. I don't know who it was who asked the question, but they asked about the pressure of getting this team back to the playoffs and having an owner that has expectations of being in the playoffs as early as next year. And Raheem Morris basically said, I don't know an owner that doesn't have those kind of expectations. Right. And there is some truth to that. But at the same time, when you have an owner that's 82 years old, wanted to hire Bill Belichick, and you have a fan base that hasn't been to the playoffs in 7 years, it can turn quickly. And it will turn quickly, because as much as there's a lot of people that love Raheem Morris and are willing right now to give him the benefit of the doubt, like it's not
that
like it
can
was
change.
it's not like it was the flashiest hire. It's not like he has this track record of success
Right.
to back him up. So if he goes out there and goes 4-12 or 4-13, and God forbid, I hope that doesn't happen for Raheem's sake and for our sakes and for the city of Atlanta's sake. I'm just saying that, like, I mean, even if he goes 6-11, like if he does worse than Arthur Smith,
yeah, that's it. You can stop right there.
Yeah,
you can stop right there. If he does worse than Arthur Smith, there will be questions raised.
Yeah, I mean, I think there will be legitimate questions raised, and I think either Arthur Blank as much
and
as
they're deserving, and they're deserving.
Yeah, I totally agree, and that's why I think this is not an easy job, but it looks like he is up for the task. And listen, I don't think anybody in this entire city, like, I feel like there were genuinely people. I mean, actually, we know that for the Saints. If you go look at what people were saying at the Saints game, they were rooting for Arthur Smith to fail. I don't think there will ever be a moment among the fan base, among the organization, among the players, that anyone will ever root for this man to fail. And I think, when you get that plays a factor. But like you said, results.
Like we said in the prior segment, if you missed it, go check it out on the YouTube Sports Talk ATL. The fact is Raheem Morris has already got the fan base in his corner. Like you just said, the fans had turned on Arthur Smith the moment in 2023, the moment when we started losing games. 2022, 2021, there was a grace period, like I mentioned. And 2023, the fan base was ready to turn on Arthur Smith. I don't think that's going to be the case with Raheem Morris for, his energy, the way that he's just a likable guy. Also, he's been with Atlanta. He was with the fans when everyone suffered the worst loss that he described in his career in that Super Bowl. He wants to, kind of make that right, give Arthur Blank that Super Bowl. So I think he's going to have that kind of grace period, at least with the fans.
We got to go to break. I want to talk about Zach Robinson. Great things to say about him.